So we've talked about trusting the process a little bit, and Debra has a podcast called Trusting the Process. So could you tell me a bit about that? You know, how it came up, what the purpose of it is, what you have learned through the conversations that you've had with people so far. You know, people say trust the process, trust your journey. And what I've noticed is that in times where it doesn't look very purposeful, I can panic. And in those times when you panic, you're not really trusting. So just, it's a nice phrase. It's very hard to live. Definitely. In reality.
So I'll kind of give a bit of context in terms of what trust and process actually is for me now today. So once upon a time, trust and process was a phrase that I would kind of say to myself, like, trust the process. I'd say to myself when I was doubting. In particular, probably the most prominent time was actually in 2015. So I'd been working in like social media and marketing and whatnot, and then I was actually made redundant from a particular role at the time. And I was like, okay, this is fine, like things are going to be okay. Like I began trusting, because that's always how it begins. So, you know, I'll just apply for new roles, etc. And 1 month went to 2 months, 2 months went to 6 months went to, a year, and I didn't have a job. And it was genuinely like one of the hardest times of my life, definitely. And I think also because I touched on it a little bit, I think, in one episode of the podcast, but during that time there was a lot happening. So I was navigating like a really difficult relationship. There was like some sickness in my family, so it was like everything that could go wrong all went wrong at one time. Yeah, exactly. So that's when trusting the process and the need to do that became super real to me. And interestingly, during that season I found a lot of strength in listening and reading and watching other people's stories, the highs and the lows, because I think it's so key to be able to see both. And I think that while social media is great and everything, Instagram, like everything is a highlight reel, you know. I can see how you succeeded, but I want to know, like, what did you have to overcome to get to where you are?
Because there's always something to overcome.
Yeah, always. And I think sometimes when you can see other people going through that or having something they had to navigate, it helps you know that you're still in the right place, you're still, you know, you're still on course. And so the idea kind of was birthed from there, because I was listening to a lot of different women in particular and their stories, and I just thought to myself, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a platform where this can be shared, like even more candidly and just more openly, especially from the UK, because a lot of the platforms I was seeing were US based. So that's kind of really when the podcast came about. So I came up with the idea of Trust and Process, the show, which is basically a show that celebrates Black women who are doing big things. And I'm not apologetic about that at all, because I think it's a necessary space to have created. And so I basically just speak with different women about their journeys. There usually will be kind of elements of faith that come up in there, which is funny because I don't try to only have Christians on there, sort of thing, but I'm finding that faith just definitely comes out and is a theme. And it's basically just about people being able to hear stories to inspire them and to help them know that they basically can achieve their dreams or their goals.
So through this Trusting the Process journey, let's like bring it up a level for people who are watching and how they can actually make that real in their own life. If you could summarize some points of how to trust the process. If I was gonna turn off this recording now and go out and try and, you know, I'm in the middle of a storm, like you said, everything happening that could go wrong basically all went wrong at one time. If that was me, what specific things could I do to strengthen myself?
Okay. Ooh, it's a biggie.
It's huge.
Okay, so...
And it's different for everyone, to be fair, but it's always good to share experiences.
Of course, yeah. I like what you said about it being different to everyone. So everything I'm going to say, it might not be, you know, it might not work for everyone. And
it's not law.
It's more the kind of general kind of guide, I guess I would say. I think the first thing is to pull away from whatever the situation is that maybe is giving you anxiety or fear or worry. And analyze it for what it really is. So take a look at, okay, where you really are at, what is really happening. Sometimes when like we're lacking trust or we're a bit afraid or whatever, some of the things that we're thinking are happening don't even really exist, if that makes any sense.
And they get amplified.
Exactly. Like step away and ask yourself, like, what is the truth about this situation? What's the truth here? So your mind might be telling you, I've ruined everything. I don't know, let's say, you lost a job, for example, like myself. So mine might be telling you, I've ruined everything, I'm going to be a failure, like I'm never going to make it, whatever. Is that reality? Like, is that the truth? So question your thoughts, basically, and look at what is the truth here. I think once you've done that, then obviously you need to kind of further supplement yourself with the real truth. So I have to go back to the Word of God.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure many people listening, maybe some will be Christian, some won't be, but from a Christian perspective, definitely the next step would be to, remind yourself of what does the Word say about my life, about where I'm going, and about maybe even where I've been, and let that be your truth. Another element as well, I think, is asking God for grace. I think that grace is so slept on. I know that like sometimes we might hear misuses of grace in terms of, I don't know, someone falls short and just ask for grace. Like someone says grace, 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 and you really max out the grace card with God. But grace in terms of grace being even deeper than strength. You know, sometimes the tasks and the visions and the purposes that God has placed on us, in fact, oftentimes they're larger than us, they're bigger than us. And that's why it can seem so daunting and it can seem so tiring. And sometimes you'll think, oh, what you need is strength. And you do. Strength is definitely key. But I think the grace to do what it is that God has placed you on this planet to do is very, very real. And I do believe we are all graced for our, our personal journeys and like our personal stories. But there's no shame in asking for that grace and asking God for it often. So yeah, I'd probably say those would be like the few key things.